We must confront the fraud in child protective services.
Because I am a patriot and a loving father, I have chosen to no longer remain silent. Next year, I plan to launch a full-scale protest on our state's capital. I have the support of good people from all walks of life, including educators, law enforcement, military families, church leaders, and community leaders who will take a stand with me next year and occupy our state's capital to demand accountability within our corrupted family courts and C.P.S. system. The events that have occurred in my life have altered the course of it, and I have only one option, and that is to scream as loud as I can until someone at the state or federal level of government can seriously evaluate everything that is going on in our corrupted family court system. C.P.S. down here in Texas have lied to our law enforcement officers and judges by fabricating reports to obtain orders and removed unabused children from loving homes. Myself, like so many other Americans, had no idea how bad the corruption and unaccountability was until I myself became a victim. Separation from my children based on hearsay instead of credibility, false allegations and blatant lies as opposed to evidence, no sincere due process with court orders to attend countless classes, shrinks, counselors, urine tests, and more when there has never even been any cause or suspicion to warrant such demands. Even worse was to witness how all these people were getting paid across the board. My fiance and I are not convicted felons, drug users, child abusers, and have never even been accused of such by any law enforcement officer or judge, or any other credible person for that matter. And most defense attorneys know that C.P.S. works under the color of law, but choose to work with them as opposed to providing legitimate defense against false allegations by their department. Many social workers know this and willingly just go along to get along, so to speak. Let's talk about why this happens. They act in such a manner because they are not required by law to be accountable to any other outside agency. This has to be brought to the general public's attention. The average caseworker makes between 29 and 50 grand a year at the taxpayer's expense, and their employment advancements are determined by case numbers as opposed to ethical and moral decisions. Incentives to obtain federal money only breeds corruption as opposed to enforcing measures that actually help victims of child abuse and provide due process to families who are not abusive. So that's why, and here's my proposal, I believe a good place to start cleaning house would be to focus on the credibility of each case. Force them to be reviewed by an outside entity, with that entity changing every 4 years through the electoral process. This would ensure a checks and balance system, as our founders intended, making it impossible for them to ever become as corrupted as they already have. Accountability ensures honesty, and right now, Child Protective Services are only accountable internally. This is mob-style review, where corrupted bosses cover for the lower-level minions. The primary objective of C.P.S. has shifted since its inception. In 1974, Walter Mondale initiated CAPTA, the Child Abuse Prevention and Treatment Act, the legislation that began feeding federal funding into the state's child welfare agencies. With remarkable foresight, Mondale expressed concerns that the legislation could lead to systematic abuse in that the state agencies might overprocess children into the system unnecessarily to keep and increase the flow of federal money. This is exactly what has happened, because there were never any provisions set in place to ensure accountability or legitimacy. This has to be brought to the attention of our representatives, and a serious investigation must ensue. Join me. I'm not a lawyer, a legislator, or a politician. I'm just a pissed-off, loving father and good red-blooded American who has become victimized by the corruption and has chosen to stand up. I feel that now more than any other time is the best time to bring attention to this issue. America is looking for answers right now, and dissent has risen to levels that are forcing each party to review itself and start listening to the people. This is a bipartisan issue that affects every American across all walks of life and should become a primary focus to our representatives. Its constitutional, moral, financial, and social implications are of monumental proportions in respect to a truly free society. Anyone interested in participating in next year's protest is urged to contact me via email at destroyingamericans@yahoo.com. That's destroyingamericans@yahoo.com. We encourage other families and family rights activists to do the same across our nation. Accountability, legitimacy, and integrity for families ensures liberty for our children.
We must confront the fraud in child protective services.